Hello guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we're going to be learning how to make this beautiful bubu gown with v-neckline and Asooke. If you're new here, please subscribe, and if you're returning subscribers, I say thank you. My name is Lowell Stitches. Let's get right into it. Okay guys, I was filming before and then I realized that this part was cut off. I had to clean it and start all over again. So I folded my fabric into four. As you can see, you fold it into four. That's we are cutting both the front and the back together. And I've also measured my length. The length is 60, and then the shoulder, I just used the whole length of the Ankara. But what you're going to do is, for you to get the length of your shoulder, you're going to measure from the middle of your neck to where you want your sleeve to stop. So the shoulder measurement I'll be using is 18, and this 18 is minus the Asooke that I am going to be adding to it. So the shoulder measurement I'm using is 18. So we have 18. So after this, the next thing we're going to be doing is to get our neckline. The neckline I'm using is 3 inches. 3 inches. I don't want it to be too wide, so I'm going to measure the width, which is 3 inches. Since we are cutting both front and back together, I'm just going to measure 1.5 inches first, and then I'm just going to cut out, just going to connect it to the neckline. The reason why I'm doing this is because when we're done cutting, we're going to separate the front and the back together. So after doing this, we're going to give our shoulder a slant. So what we're going to do is I'm going to come down by 1 inch from our shoulder measurement. This is to give the shoulder a slant. So I'm going to be connecting from my neckline to my shoulder line, my shoulder slant. So now the next thing we're going to do is to measure the length of our sleeve. For this sleeve, I don't want it to be too big, so I'm using 11.5 for the sleeve measurement. So I'm going to be measuring 11.5, and I'm also going to be adding 1.5 inches allowance to it. So the next thing we'll be doing is to connect the lines together. So now on that line, that's our shoulder, the length of our sleeve, you're going to be measuring your hip measurement divided by 4, and you're going to be adding extra allowance. So I'm putting down my hip measurement, then I'm adding 5 extra inches allowance. The reason is because I'm going to be adding 4 inches extra allowance for ease, then 1 extra inches for seam, so making it a total of 5. So it depends. If you don't want it to be too big, you can just go ahead and add 3 inches extra inches allowance, then 1 inches for seam. So after doing this, we're just going to be measuring whatever we have, the total measurement we have at that sleeve line down to the bottom. See, I've already done that. So now what we're going to do is to cut out the fabric. So now what we're going to do is we're going to separate the fabric. We're going to separate the front and the back. Then we'll be able to work on the front neckline. So now we're going to mark out our neckline. I'm going to be making use of 7.5 inches. It depends on your preference though, but I wouldn't advise you to go lower than 8 inches, except if the person is a plus size. So I've measured 7.5 inches. I'm just going to connect it down to up to the neckline, the neck width. So what we're going to do now is to cut it out. So now I want to cut what I'm going to use to turn the neckline. You can choose to use a bias to turn it, but I think it will be better if you use a fabric like this. It will give it a more cleaner look. So I just folded my fabric into 2. It is not enough. That's why I'm folding it like this. So you're just going to place it on top of you're going to place the main fabric on top of what you're going to use to turn it, and then just cut out the neckline. Just watch as I do it. So here it is, guys. I'm just going to trim it off, and then in the middle I'm going to join it by the middle, but it's going to be a slant line. And then after doing this, I'm going to use it to turn the fabric, and I'll show you how it looks. So guys, I've turned it, I've ironed it, and also I folded it and made sure I ironed the middle very well to give me that crease line or that middle line. So now what we're going to do next is to place our Asooke on the neckline. So the reason why we're doing this is to get how we're going to join it at the middle so it matches. So when you're placing it, please make sure that your Asooke is extended. What I mean is, make sure that it is over your shoulder with a lot of inches, because you don't want to make that mistake where you have something like this. So you drag it up a bit, at least like 4 or 5 inches, just to be safe. So the first thing I'm going to do is to pin down the Asooke on the V neckline, so you make sure it matches. So the next thing we're going to do is to fold it in the middle. You remember I told you that you should iron the middle of your fabric? Yes. So you iron it, it will be easier for you to get the middle line. So what we're going to do next is this. After placing it like this, you're going to fold it from the point where the neckline stops. Just watch carefully as I do it. When you're doing yours, you don't need to rush. So you're just going to fold it like this till you get to the other end of the gele. Do you get? So you're just going to fold it like this. So this is it. You're just going to fold it like this. Press it so you'll be able to get like a line where you follow. So this is it. You just fold it to the end here. So now we're going to remove the pins, and we're going to use this side to cut the other side. I'm not sure if you can see the folded line, so I'm just going to use my chalk to mark out the line so we all can see it clearly. So it is this line now that we're going to sew on while we are cutting the other side. So I've cut out the other pieces, that's the other side. What we're going to do now is to place the other one, the one with the chalk on it, the one with the mark. We're going to place it on the other Asooke. So you see on this line, that's what we are going to sew. We're going to sew on it. So it is very important, make sure the thing is equal so that the lines can be equal. So we're going to sew on it like. Okay guys, this is it. I've sewn it and you can see how it looks already. It's already giving that V shape. So what we're going to do next is to trim off the excess we have here. Okay, so guys, this is how it looks after sewing together. The next thing we're going to do is to iron it. We're going to open the middle up and iron it. Please be careful when you're ironing. Some of those Asooke, they can't take heat, so you can place a fabric on it before ironing just to be safe. So this is how it looks after ironing. You can see how flat it's looking already. So the next thing we're going to do is just to trim off that excess there so it won't show. So now after doing this, we're going to place on our fabric and sew. So now we're going to place it on the neckline. Remember that the length is kind of more than the normal neck because we don't want it to be short at the top. So you're just going to place it like this. Make sure that your main fabric is not showing. So you're just going to place it like this and then pin it down. So I'm just going to repin again to make sure I get what I want. I want it to be well placed. So when you're doing yours, you don't need to rush. Just do it calmly and you get exactly what you want. After doing that, I'm going to pin the lower part too and sew. So guys, I've sewn the neckline with my machine. The next thing we're going to do is to sew our pocket on it. You know the pocket is a front pocket. We're going to be sewing it on the fabric. So the first step we're going to do is to measure where we want our pocket to start from. So I'll be making use of 18. Yes, from the shoulder line, I'm going to be measuring 18. So that's where I'm going to be placing my pocket, and I've cut out the pieces for the pocket. The length is 10 and the width is 10 inches. So when I want to iron, I'll reduce the length I want. So I'm just going to mark out the length on both sides of the fabric where I want to place my pocket, which is 18. So after doing that, we're going to measure where we want our pocket to start from. So I'm just going to use the middle line here. I'm going to measure 4 inches on the left and the right. So that is where our pocket is going to start from. So this is where the pocket is going to be placed, where we measured that, the 4 inches we measured. We're going to place it like this. So what we're going to do is we're going to be adding this Asooke at the edge. We're going to be adding it at the edge. So the width I want to use is 8 inches. Then the length is 8 inches. So when we iron it, we're going to just measure what exactly we want to use for the pocket. To illustrate, I'm going to fold the Asooke into 2. So the length of the Asooke is going to be 2.5. That's what I'm going to be cutting. So when I'm done sewing, it's going to be 2 inches. And then I'm going to sew on it like this and flip it over like this. So I'm going to do that for you to see. Okay guys, we're almost done. I've joined it by the shoulder. This is how it looks from the inside. I'm still going to overlock the edge like this. So I've joined it by the shoulder and this is what we have. And I've also attached the Asooke to the pocket. I'm going to show you. This is it. I've also attached it. I've ironed it, and while ironing, I top stitched. When I attached it, I top stitched the joining, and then while ironing, I measured my length, the desired length, and the width. So the length is 8 inches and the width is 9 inches. The width is 8 inches and the length is 9 inches. Sorry. So width is 8 inches, the length is 9 inches. So what we're going to do is we're going to place it on the mark we did. Just make sure it is straight. You're going to place it and use your pin. Use it to pin it down, then you sew on it. So after doing that, after sewing the pocket, the next thing we're going to do is to attach the Asooke to the sleeve. That's the length of the sleeve. So this is how they usually sell it in the market. So you're just going, I'm not going to cut it, I'm just going to attach it. I'll sew it and then I'll top stitch on it like we did for the pockets. So I'm just going to sew it and show you how it looks. Okay guys, so this is it. I've attached the pocket. There are still pins here. I'm going to remove it later. I've attached the pocket. This is how it looks. And I've also attached the Asooke to the sleeve. See how it looks. After sewing, I still top stitched it to secure it very well, to secure it properly. So you top stitch it this way. So we're almost done. The next thing we're going to do now is to join it by the side. So this is it. You're just going to place it like this. Make sure it's equal and then sew with your 1 inch sewing allowance. Then if you want to add side slit to it, you can measure up to like 9 inches from down up, then you stop your sewing there, and then you're also going to fold it at the bottom. And that's basically it. Thank you for watching up to this level, guys. Please do not forget to subscribe, hit the like button and drop a comment. So this is the final look. It's a little bit bigger because it's not for me. Thank you for watching, guys.